Hello everyone, greetings again and welcome to this new episode. So we've been learning some few basics of design and art, and this is the time for us to start creating things. In order to create things, we need to know the tools we are using to do that. In order to also use the tools properly, we need to understand the environment. The understanding of the environment and the tools used in building will help us to be efficient in whatever we are building. And that is why I'm going to take you through the interface of Adobe Illustrator, one of the softwares we are going to use. So after the interface of Adobe Illustrator, we are also going to go through the interface of Adobe Photoshop. So this video is mainly focused on the interface of Adobe Illustrator. So without wasting too much time, get your Adobe Illustrator started by going to your Windows menu, Start, and then look for Adobe by typing Adobe or just typing Illustrator, and you will see it and you will start it. So I also have to add that I am using Adobe Illustrator CC 2017. This course is going to be valid for any Adobe version from CS3 above. So CS3, CS4, CS5, and most main versions on the CC. So there will be maybe some little changes, but mostly the interfaces are the same and the tools are the same. So just some slight differences. So try to focus and try to find out if there's something that is not as you expected. Try to find out where they are placed. So without hesitating, I guess by now your Adobe Illustrator is started and is open. Probably doesn't look like what you have in front of me right here or in front of you. So what we are going to do is, first of all, try to harmonize our interfaces so that we all have the same thing in front, and then while I am talking, it will make all sense. So first of all, we will need to reset the workspace. The other time I explained to you that the whole interface here is the workspace. So we need to get it set so that all of us will have the same thing. So to do that, go on top in this angle, the right angle there, you will see something like this, or it will show you maybe a square somewhere around, but mainly if you have a version like mine, you should get something like this. Or if you do not want to bother yourself with it, go on the Windows menu up here and then look for workspace here, and you can choose the Essentials workspace. Do not worry, we'll come back on it. So once you do that, come back inside here and the right menu here and just say Reset Essentials. So right, my environment is reset. It's now back to the initial setup. So none of the panels here is added by me, but they are already set by default by Adobe Illustrator. So if you are here, also probably you don't have this white space with this drawing, so I'm going to close mine just like this. It's just for testing, nothing is serious there, so no. So you should have something like this. So when you look at the software, we can now notice three different sections. The first one is the one on top, which contains the menu. So it is called the menu bar. So it is at the end of the menu bar you will see the workspaces that you can choose. Then at the left side we have the tools. So we have a vertical bar, which is the tools bar. It contains all the tools we need to create every artwork. So if you are drawing, the tools to draw are there. If you are creating shapes, the tools to create shapes are there. If you are painting, the tools to paint are all there. So that's where we get all the tools. So it is a tool set. So this is the tools bar. At the right side, we have what we call panels or properties panels. So they usually bring additional tools like colors, how to manipulate the shapes we draw and other things. So there are additional tools, or we also have layers on how to manage the different assets or different documents or different portions or components of our drawing. So that's what the properties panels do, and we usually can tweak them as well. At the middle side here, we have nothing so far, and that is the workspace. So this is our workspace. This is where everything will happen. But before we start getting something, we need to create a document, or what we call the other time the canvas. So the document is the canvas or the workspace, the workplace where we are going to do our artwork. This is the area where we are going to create whatever we are going to create. So in order to get the workspace or the document up, we need to go to the files menu, or some of you might have a different window. For if you have the recent versions, it will propose to you a different window, a pop-up window or the home window, which allows you to create a document easily. Usually you get some suggestions and then a button to create a new document. So if you click it, it is equivalent to just clicking the files menu and then click on the new, and definitely you will get something similar to this. This might be empty. If you have never used Adobe Illustrator before, this might be empty. Feel free to navigate to other types of documents you can create with Adobe Illustrator. So you can browse all these types. So for now, I advise, if you don't have anything in the recent, go for mobile, go for web, or even go for print, and choose any format you want. So I'll stick to the print and keep the letter format. So by choosing a format, it gives you the dimensions that are equivalent to that format. So if you can see, while I'm clicking on the format, it gives me different directions. Feel free to tweak it as well. You can write or erase or write your own dimensions. So it doesn't mean you have to stick to those dimensions. It means you can create a new document by choosing any size you like. So if you are creating a core card, you might just decide to create the dimensions or set the dimensions of the card you want and then create it. So for now, we'll stick to default sizes that are available here. So I'll keep the letter size. Then you click on the create button right here. Also, before we move on, there is an area here which is the color mode. So we'll come back to that topic. But so far, I am keeping CMYK, but yours might be the RGB. So any color mode you choose is alright, or you can just keep it the default as you saw it. Then click the create button. Then you have something like that. So you can see it looks some way. The dimensions I choose don't look really incredible. It doesn't give you much space to do. So this is an opportunity to start using one of our favorite tools, which is the airboard tool. So by using the airboard tool, I can just tweak the space as I wish for now, because after all, when I'm done with the work, that's when I will decide the dimensions I want. Right? So you have something like that. So you can see I left the airboard tool by clicking on a different tool. So let's review it. We have the menu bar. The menus are there to help us with more features and functions that are available in Adobe that could not be displayed in the panels. Otherwise it will become really cumbersome and difficult to navigate throughout the interface. So some of the menus contain some more features that are there. So for example, when you click on the window menu, you can see we have much more panels that can be shown right at the right side there. So that's why they decided to hide them under there to keep the interface clean. So then you can see that after I created my document, this canvas, the workspace here, something else just appeared beneath the menu bar, right? That is the control panel. It contains options for a selected tool or a selected shape. So the control panel is context sensitive. What it means is, based on the tool I am using and based on the shapes I'm working on, or parts or colors, it changes. I said it earlier on in the previous video. So if I take any shape around here, so let me take something. Let me take a rectangle shape and draw a shape, and you can see the control panel changed, and you can see it is telling me I'm actually working on a rectangle. So if I take another shape like an ellipse and do this, you can see it tells me I'm working on the ellipse and gives me different properties, different options to control that element. In addition to that, it also gives us links to panels. So for example, we have a panel here. We can see if you click, it brings out a panel. And we also have other panels that can show up. For example, if I take the text tool and write a text, you can see it gives me the opacity panel, the character panel, which allows me to set the sizes and the font of the text. And then I also have the paragraph panel to help me manipulate the paragraph, like the positioning. So that is two good things that the control panel is good at. So giving you more options on the tools, and then the objects you are working on, the elements you are working on, and also give you shortcuts to more panels. We will not talk much about every individual tool and how they are used right now, but I will try to go through the various tools, because it is important we try to explore the tools, but we will not see how they are deeply used. So while I'm showing the various tools, I will be testing what they can be used for and how you can use them. So in general, to use a tool, you just click on the tool and then you come on the canvas and draw or use it in an angle where it is defined that it should be used. What I mean is, some tools are there just for you to click once and then their effect will be applied. Some tools you might need to click twice by doing a double click before their action is applied. Some tools you just need to click and drag before their actions are applied. So we need to understand how to use these tools, and in the next videos we'll explore these tools throughout our project works. So we'll start with the tools panel. In the tools panel, we have a category of tools that are called the selection tools. The selection tools allow us to select elements, starting from the first tool, which is also called the selection tool. So it is actually the default tool that is always active. It is, to me, equivalent to your finger, so that you can use to point out the things and say this is it, and take this and drag it to the other area, and so on and so forth. So the selection tool is the default tool. So whenever you are lost and you don't know what to do, take the selection tool. So by clicking on it, and it will bring a darker gray around it. That shows that that tool is actually active and is operating. So far it doesn't seem to do anything. Now if I bring a circle, another circle, and then another circle, and I go back to the selection tool, you see I can take the circles and drag them one by one, one after the other, and put them in whatever order I want. So you see, that's was the purpose of the selection tool. Around it we have the next tool, which is the direct selection tool. The direct selection tool comes in two types, so the group and then the single. So this tool is used to edit the parts of the objects. So you can see I can edit the part of the object by creating various shapes, transforming them. So we'll come back to each one of these tools and how to use them with projects, how to apply them very well. So we have the magic wand and then the lasso tools that are very useful in selecting the pixels of the same colors and cutting portions of the objects or the elements. So after the selection tool, we have the type, path, and then shapes tool. So the path are these tools. The pen tool, we use it to create paths, like this. So like lines of all shapes we wish to have. So that's what the pen tool is used for. And you can see as we go that when you want to create free lines, free shapes that are customized, shapes that you want to draw logos, you can see that the pen tool is a very powerful tool. It will surely take a lot of time on it and learn how to use it. Once you master the pen tool, you are going to create incredible shapes. So it also comes with sub tools. So by the way, you can see that some of the tools have some small arrow under them. This small arrow allows you to see more options of that tool, or it is a group of tools that are in the same family that operate in the same angle. So they are put in the same menu. So to get them out, you just press on that arrow for a long time, so for some few microseconds, So you do a long press, you hold the key, and then it will fly out. So what you have there is called a fly out menu. So it flies out as you press and hold on it. The same thing here, you press, you hold, it will fly out. You click once, it will go back. So you can see most of them have it. Then the next tool is the curvature tool. The curvature tool allows you to create also shapes, but in a more rigid way compared to the pen tool. So you get the same shapes, but it's a bit more rigid. You can see it defines the angle in which the shapes go, and you can close it. So if you don't have a good mastery of the pen tool, you can use the curvature tool very well. Then we have the text tool or the type tool. So this allows us to write text like this, right? So once you write the text, you can see it becomes like an object you can adjust. So that's one good thing. Text is obvious, it's easy to use, and we have different forms of text, so we'll come back to it and explore them. We have the line as well. You can draw lines of different forms. So you can see that. Don't worry, the color is not showing because the stroke is not showing. Right, so then it will start showing. So now we have the shapes tool. Of course, remember, designing is about making shapes and arranging the shapes. So this allows us to make more shapes. Then we have the paintbrush tool, which is used for painting and drawing. So it's like the pencil, and we can have it in different shapes, different sizes, and draw wonderful things. So if you love drawing, this is the opportunity for you. So we have the pencil itself, right? And it comes in various forms that we can use to achieve many things as well. So you can see here, right? Then we have the eraser. Obviously, it is used for erasing. So of course, I've crossed the type and shapes already, and I'm now on the eraser. Is part of these utility tools we can use, like the hand and then the lens and the zoom tool. Then we have the transformation tools that you can see in this category. These tools are many. So this tool, for example, allows us to rotate objects. So to show a little bit what I'm trying to say with this tool is this. So to show a little bit, I can make something, let me make something like this, right? So I create something like this. I give it a shape. After giving it a shape, I can use the direct selection tool. Now let me take the pen tool and remove some of the anchors like this, and then I get a triangle. So I can do that. When you look at the triangle, I might want to have two opposite triangles, right? So what I can do is I'll copy it. Don't worry how I do it. I'm just pressing the Alt key here and then dragging it like this, and I get this another triangle, right? Now I might want to rotate this triangle to go at the opposite direction, pointing down. So I can do that, and I say I want it to start to happen at the middle, and I do this. So that's one good way we can use this rotation tool and other things. So we'll come back to it. Then we have the scale tool, which is used to scale objects. So I'm still on my pen to my selection tool. So I drag again. I create another triangle, but this time around I'll scale it in one direction, or the all directions, so proportionally. I make it like that, and then I can keep it here. Contain my other triangles. So let me scale it again. Good. So we have something. Then we have the warp tools. This is a set of tools that allow us to manipulate shapes, actually transform their edges into something. So you can look and see how it works. You see, I can transform an object randomly with the warp tools. Then we have the free transformation tool, still into the transformation family. Let me select an object, take the free transformation. So you can rotate it in different angles. So the edge objects are selected, so I can do that. And the tool gives us many options. So in perspective, different perspective, you can distort the objects. So for example, if I take it this way and take it this angle, you can see I give it this perspective view. So many things can be achieved. So we have the mesh tool as well, which is used to create mostly gradients, like when you are painting like a calabash, an object like a bow. When you are painting, you know, their colors are, you know, uniform, so you want to create this 3D painting. This is very useful. We'll come back to it. So the gradient tool is used to create gradient shapes. So if you have a shape and then you want the feeling to be gradient, then that can happen. So it's something like this. That's what we call gradient. So you see, it goes from one color to the next color. Then we have the eyedropper and other elements in the family, like the measure. So the eyedropper is used to pick a color for another area. So if you notice the image I had initially, I was having some two colors here. So I do it this. So then I make another one and I give it a different color. So the purpose mainly is to pick one color for one area. So if I take this object here and I take the eyedropper, I say, okay, I want the stroke to be this color. I mean the filling to be this color because I've selected the filling. So it becomes like that. That's what the eyedropper is picking one color to another color, one color from one place to another place. So mainly it will be useful, especially when you have your color palette. So a set of colors you are using for a particular work, you don't want to go beyond those colors, so you can have it around and do that. Then we have the blend tool. The blend tool is used to blend elements together, to group elements like this together and paint them. So then we have the spray tool, symbol spray tool. A symbol spray tool allows you to spray a symbol. So what you can do is, okay, so it's telling me to select the symbol from the panel, right? So symbol panel. So this is one proof that some of the panels are hidden and you have to show them. So it's asking me to pick a symbol from the symbols panel, and this is the symbols panel. You click and it will bring the symbols. So let me take this symbol, for example, that we mostly see in advertisement showing the splash of water or milk also. So you see, I can spray it and get these shapes. So if I click once, it comes once. If I click twice, it comes again. If I hold it and do this, it will spray it. So you can use this for many effects. So let me keep it just once, like this. Right. Then we have the graphs. The graphs are used for statistics and data analytics showcases and display things. So many times you see shapes like this. All right, so we see shapes like that. Apply. So you can see you can have many data sets and then display it in so many ways. So we'll come back to it and see how they are used and build some things with them. Then we have the airboard itself, which allows us to create our airboard. There's also another advantage of the airboard of we having different pages, different slides that we work on the same document. So it's a good thing. Then we have the slice tool as well, which is used to cut. So under it, you also have another slide selection tool. So usually you select the object and then you slice one portion of it and that's it. Then from there we have the hand tool, which is used to move the whole document. So this is your second rescue in case you are lost in the interface, that you are mixed up, you don't want to touch something and break it. So if you are not using the selection tool, you can go with the hand. The hand will move the document without actually touching any element inside. And you can see we have the print tailing as well under it. Then we have the lens to zoom it in and out. So as you continue to click, it will zoom in. Also, to add to it, we have the status bar under the document here, which shows the status of the document. So you can see we are on airboard 1. If you had many airboard, we could navigate them. But here, what I want to show you is the zoom option. So you can zoom to different resolution. In case you are lost, zoom it to the lowest resolution possible so that you can see your document clearly. So we'll come back to the zoom, how to zoom and work properly and get to the details of the objects you are working on. So this is it for the interface of Adobe Illustrator. We didn't go too much into details because I expect while we are building some things, while we are working, you will start to learn, you will start to explore them deeply, because we cannot now go into each one of them and show what they do, because they don't have a limited function. And like I said the other time, one tool can be combined with other tools to come up with the functions that were not even planned maybe when the software was created. So that's its art. And thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video where we introduce the interface of Adobe Photoshop.